Oh, and the crowd goes wild. Wait, what do you mean there's no crowd in here? It's just me all by myself. What does it mean? I don't know what it means, but it means you and I are back on Cooperville Live. A happy day to you. I hope it was fantastic. I hope your life is extraordinary. That's all I got for inspirational quotes for the day. Never ever give up. You do you. How was everybody's day? Feel free to jump in the comments wherever you're watching. Facebook Live, on the Welcome to Cooperville page. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. Welcome. No major outages today on the social medias. That seems to be a big thing. Facebook saying, yeah, that was us. Like we pressed the wrong button. Did ya? I don't know if that's true. I don't feel like that's true. I feel like that's a lie. But that's just me. What do I know? It's hanging in the dungeon. Did you guys see we got my skeleton buddy over here? There's one over there too. Friends of the show. This is the in-studio audience. Skulls. What up, Mom? Mom's going to do a run walk in the park. Not bad. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon where you're at, so that's a win. You can listen to this fine program whilst you do so. Let's thank our sponsors of today's program. Cooperville Clothing, the lady stuff. Yeah, let's check it out. We got kind of the Halloween vibe thing going on here with our skeleton meditation and the lady skull. Available in all sorts of different articles. The tees, the crop sweatshirt, the crop hoodie. I like it. We also did some accessories with this one. Accessories. We got some wall art. We got your basic pillow. All at CoopervilleClothing.com. So many things. So little time. Captain Coop's Beard Company for the beardos. Hey, sir. And Mindy. That's me. We're very close. Very close to launching even more products from the Captain Coop's line, including some body butters, including what else do we have? Some body balm, some medicinal body balm things, some body oils, and tattoo balm. That's in the works. We're in R&D with that, and Captain Coop's sex lube is coming soon. Stand by for that, and couldn't do that without our fine partners over at Everything Hemp LLC. They have D8 products in stock, ready to ship to you. You must call them. This is close to as getting high as you can legally. The same effects, without, the depending on what state you're watching from, the after effects, which is incarceration, because our laws are fucked up. But 715-532-4367. Tell them you heard it on Cooperville Live. You want to try out some D8. They will get you all squared away and set up. They have a whole other awesome line of cool CBD products, whether you need your tinctures or you need your topicals, even hemp products for your pets. They love it. Edibles, all the things. EverythingHempLLC.com is the website for them. So go and check that all out. Please and thank you. It keeps the internet service on in the house. So there's benefits to it. Hope your day was wonderful. Another nice day. We're in a weird time of year because it's like supposed to be starting to cool off, and we've had really nice 70 plus degree days, and not gonna lie, kind of enjoying it. It looks fall-y though. If you go outside in the Midwest, it looks fall-y. There's the leaves are approaching peak color. So it's a great time to take a drive in the country. but the weather's been spectacular. What else is going on? We have Kentucky Dom coming back on the show. He'll be on in just a couple of minutes. He'll join us. He was back. He was on back in May, and we chatted with him about music and life and the country and things like that. We'll talk more about all of those topics coming up at about 10 after the hour, so make sure you stick around for that. Also, I had some people asking, C-Dubs, hello. Hello. That's what they say in Britain. Hello. Tomorrow is the last day of exam. Well, best of luck to you, C-Dubs. You got this. Go team. Burp, burp. All the things. You got this. Dialed in. Which is great. Where was I going? Oh, I've had some people ask, yes, you can stream my afternoon show at 111country.com. I do afternoons now in Cookville, Tennessee, and you can listen to that show every single day from 3 until 7 at 111country.com. Make sure you check that out. And go like us on Facebook, 96.9 111 Country, Highway 111 Country on Facebook. Give it a like. I put up questions every afternoon. It's great to get interaction on those. So be a part of the program here and there. 111country.com. Shameless plug. If you just can't get enough of this, but you want this mixed in with a little bit of great 90s country, there you go. 111country.com. Oh, what else we have? We have coming up. Halloween, 25 days away from today. Been getting into a lot of ghostly shows. The Ghost Adventures, the Haunted Museum, the Dead Files. I'm watching a lot of that. But I've heard through many people that Squid Game is apparently the show we need to be watching on Netflix. It's like taking the country by storm. I don't know if I can, dedicate a lot more time to television. I tried for a long period of time to avoid watching television. But now I'm like, I have enough going on during the day. I feel like I can rest and relax, turn the brain off for a little bit in the evening hours. Everybody's like, you got to watch Squid Game, man. And you're starting to see memes, and I'm like, I don't get it. Oh, well, I'm not watching. Is it Squid Game, right? Squidward? I think that's SpongeBob. I don't know. But apparently everybody's watching it. C-Dubs, are you watching Squid Life? Squidworld? Squid, I'm not, I really, it's Squid something. I know that's the title. Squid. Squiddy. McSquidster. I don't know. It's tough to get into a new show. Yeah. Like Sunday, I apparently fell into Vampire Diaries for 9 hours. I don't have time to watch a new show. Well, Sunday was a day of rest. It's in the Bible. Sundays are for rest and football. And we got both in. I don't know if anybody's watching it. Give me your reviews. Because the people that I've heard talking about it are I was going to watch one episode and ended up watching the whole thing because it was that riveting. It's a Korean show, but they overdubbed all the voices in English. So we watched the preview of it, and this has that that old school kung fu movie kind of vibe to it, don't not come in my house. So it's a little bit weird. All right. So Kentucky Dom is without internet currently. Let's 21 floors up, headed down to get a signal. So he'll be a minute. Jump on when you can. I believe he is in Nashville. Yeah, he's in Nashville doing some recording. So kind enough to jump in and take some time to be on the show. Does anybody know the name of that Netflix series? That's I'll type in Squid, and I'm sure it's the first thing that's going to come up, right? Squid Game. Dun da da da. Can we get a? Like, we got it. We had to use the DuckDuckGo, but we got it. Silliness. It's nice to have crowd applause on a hot button, though. Speaking of hot button, JB getting a little angry. People calling out the FJB chant is roaming about college stadiums and NFL stadiums, and also at NASCAR races. Like, the story is that there was a reporter live at a NASCAR event, and the FJB was loud and clear as day in the background from the crowd while she's doing this live thing, and her interpretation of it was they're saying we love Brendan. Like, what? Like, at what point did we lose our minds and our hearing? It's just it's a strange world, and we're just living in it. Maybe that's why people are getting wrapped up in watching Squidward, because they're like, there's got to be something better. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I digress, as they say. My boy, Kentucky Dom, looks like he found some internet. He is ready to rock and roll. How you doing, my friend? Oh, it looks like you're muted. We better unmute you.
Dog.
There he is. How are you doing, my friend? We found internet service.
Man, I'm doing great. Can y'all see me well?
I can
it's
see.
Kind of a bad reception out here, but can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you. You look as handsome as ever, but you found internet service, which I saw.
Oh, man.
I saw that you didn't really know about the Facebook Instagram outage because you were off the grid somewhere. You're like, I don't know. I thought I just had bad reception.
Yeah, yeah, man. I was way out in the country in southern Indiana, and so I was, playing with my phone, and I was like, well, I guess I'm too far out, and I only had like 2 bars anyway, like 1.5, I guess you would call it. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll just stop playing with my phone and get back to what I was doing. And then by the time I got back in town, I was like, oh, shoot. I started going through my Facebook, and everybody's like, Facebook was down. So, there's benefits to living in the country, man. You don't get, you don't have to deal with all that stuff. So it's kind of cool.
That's true. Like, you don't realize when you're not in the country, when you're not off the grid, which I love being off the grid. It gives me a sense of clarity in life. But you realize when you're not, like, how panicky you get when you don't have that, like, oh, I'm just going to go and see if anybody liked my picture.
Right. Right.
And you're like, wait.
You start going in your settings, and you're like, all right, I got to get a hold of somebody at Facebook.
Right.
See what's going on.
Like, did I pay I think I paid my bill. The Wi-Fi seems to be up and running. Like, I was at my other job, and I was working on a marketing plan thing, and all of a sudden I was like, I think the internet's broken. Like, I think we need to go reset, unplug it and plug it back in, because this is not right. But wild times we're living in, man.
Wild times, man. Wild times. Back in the day, man, we wouldn't even be worried about that stuff.
Right? We just be like, oh, I guess we work now, like we were supposed to be doing. How you been, man?
I'm good, brother. I can't complain at all. How about yourself?
Every day, just getting by, observing the world as it turns. It was May the last time we had you on, and we felt like we were like the globe was on an uptick, and it's just every day I find there's more strange things that happen in the world, and I take solace in the fact that there's guys like you and me out here going, well, we're just gonna do what we have to do.
We just gotta do what we gotta do, man. I mean, that's the biggest thing, man. Is in a time like this, you can either panic or you can either go forward. And I think that for me, I'm an entrepreneur anyway. I'm into technology business. My wife and I own a bridal shop, and I do all kind of stuff. I got my music going. I'm back and forth to Nashville. Matter of fact, my wife and I just got a place in Nashville, so that's nice. Why I'm having internet difficulties, because I'm trying to figure out how it all works. But that's besides the point. And so honestly, man, we've been going forward. I haven't really had too much stop since the pandemic's happened, and and then whenever you live out, when you live where I live, you don't really worry about too much stuff like that anyway. So for the most part, man, it's been good. I can say life has been good. We're blessed. I just got back from Alaska. My wife is from Alaska, and so we went up there and got to see my stepdaughter. That's where she lives,
Cool.
and we got to see my wife's parents. And my wife is she's half Thai, so it's always good to go up there and spend some time with her parents and eat some good Thai
I was
food
gonna
because it's
say,
authentic.
yeah, like I know there's I love the in-laws. What's for dinner?
Exactly. Let me tell you a crazy story that they told me though. So they always have a lot of moose and bear. They live in Anchorage, but they live on the mountain.
Right.
And they said they was telling me a story not too long ago. They just got home and their neighbor called them and said, "Hey, you hear that outside?" They walked outside and there was 3 baby bear and a mama bear eating a baby moose in their yard. I was like, "What?" That's
Like
National Geographic in the backyard.
I was gonna say, like that's like nature. I mean, like nature finds a way. It's it's the food chain and stuff. But when you hear that, you're like that should be on the internet. Like these are things that you see on the internet, but then then Facebook puts up this may contain sensitive content, but it's just nature being nature. But it sounds like what was happening?
Right. Exactly. So it's wild. But then the whole time after that, so like in Anchorage, they kind of like keep everything natural. So no matter where you go, there's a lot of tall bushes, a lot of, everything's just kind of natural. And so the way her dad lives, when you park your vehicle, that same spot where the bear was eating that moose, you got to get out of your vehicle. So I was always alert every time I got out of a vehicle to make sure there were no bear or anything like that getting ready to jump out and eat me up.
Are they?
So,
Does
but
that
it was
even?
pretty cool though.
If they're from up there, like do those kind of events even phase them? I mean, are they like, well, yeah, that's just where that happened, or are they? Do they have the same reaction? Like you getting out of the truck is one thing, you're on alert. Are they like, whatever, it just happens?
No, they're alert too.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're alert too because a lot of times, when the baby bear come around, the mama's around, and so if the mama feels like a human's around the baby bear, then they'll come and attack you as a human no matter what. And so, it's kind of one of those things. I mean, they're just on alert. It would be no different than if it's no different for them than for us.
Yeah.
They're probably less hesitant to like open their door and be like, "Get away, bear," or something like that. But you know what I mean? For the most part, they're just like us. They're like, we got to be careful.
Right.
A matter of fact, my mother-in-law was telling me that every day she opens their garage, they actually they look out and make sure that there are no bear or anything like that walking around. So it's one of those things. It's nature, but you also got to pay attention.
Is that like people from like Texas and from the South? They always check their boots for rattlesnakes before they put their boots on. Like rattlesnakes and scorpions. Like, just things that me from way up north don't really worry about a whole lot.
Right. Exactly. That's funny.
That's cool.
It's funny you said that because probably about 2 months ago, I'm sitting in the garage with a couple of my buddies, and my wife comes banging on the garage door. "Dom, come here! There's a snake on the back porch." But what happened is I got an English bulldog. And, English bulldogs are fat and lazy, and they don't pay attention to nothing. And go out, and my dog is just standing there drinking water while there's this huge rat snake standing right next to him. He didn't even see it. And then finally he turns around and he's like, "Oh shoot, what is that?" And so I got a Marine and I got a current Marine and a current Air Force guy sitting in my garage. We all go into tactical mode and we go out. I got a bunch of airsoft guns and I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna get the snake off my porch." And so we did a whole tactical thing and put him inside of a bucket. And the crazy thing is the next day, that daggone snake was trying to get back on my porch again. And so then I had to take him out.
And that was the end. That's when it went from Ghost Force Recon to, this is no, Tom Clancy's no longer telling this story. We're taking the snake out, man.
Oh man! So for all those people that love animals out there, I'm sorry, but I gave him a second. He had a second chance, and he came back.
You got to protect the family first. And I've had bulldogs most of my life growing up, and as I got into my 20s and 30s, and they're the exact same. I mean, like, just no reaction till there is a reaction, unless they're like, oh, I can play with this or I could eat it. They're like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to.
Well, he knew once I came out and started getting tactical, something was wrong. He was like, okay, Dad's being a little too tactical. That might be something dangerous.
Now, Dom, be honest. Did you send the Air Force guy in first? I got to ask.
I sent the Marine in first.
Of course you sent the Marine in first. Of course you did. You know why?
Marine in first.
Because you're smart. You're smart. That's why. Oh, that's a great story, man. There's been a lot of weird like animal videos like popping up. Did you see that video of the woman in Denver that got like attacked by that moose? She was.
I did not.
They were in like a national park somewhere, and it's Colorado, so there's a lot of like Patagonia vests, and there's a lot of khaki pants. And this lady, somebody's in a vehicle like taking a cell phone video of this moose that's just roaming about by these people, and the moose like attacks the lady, like starts to get into this lady, and it's all dudes around, and they just all start backing out. I'm like, if this happens anywhere else, like, you go in full force. I don't care. There's like a guy in the back taking pictures. I'm like, come on, guys, we got to do something.
Nine times out of 10 in the Midwest and the South, somebody's got a concealed carry. So
yeah, I'm like this.
Bye, Mr. Moose. See you later, Bullwinkle.
We're having dinner tonight. I'm not sure who's into moose, but we have stew and we have some back flab, and we're good, man. That's just been crazy. And the guy that caught the alligator. Exactly. I mean, alligators in Florida are pretty common, but the guy
I did see that
fighting the alligator with his garbage can.
Yeah.
like that alligator was like one wrong reaction away from scooting around that garbage can, and dude just lost the game. Like, he's out.
Yeah, pretty much. But he looked like he was probably some type of cop or Marine. He was too tactical. Right. So he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. So probably not an Air Force guy. I'm just kidding. I love
not an Air Force.
I love
guy,
all of our service members. I do. But you talked a little bit about entrepreneurship and that mindset with all the things that you have going on, music included. I think there is, in getting through the pandemic and kind of the weird state of affairs with politics and division, things like that, when you have an entrepreneurial mindset, like I know that you do, it's obstacles present themselves, but it's almost like a natural reaction to learn how to either pivot or, we talked about, riding the Kentucky Dom train. You just kind of learn how to go through it.
Yes, sir.
Because there's been a lot of that, I think, going on with my businesses, with the show, with, the obstacles that are put forth before us and things that we can't control. You kind of have to be like, all right, well, we have to either figure out a new way, but you don't stop. I think that's kind of the key to it is you got to keep the train on the tracks and keep it moving. You got to keep going. Yeah, and you've done that. You've done that so well. I mean, over the course of the last almost 20 months now.
Yeah, well, one of my mentors told me one time, because I was having a difficult time trying to figure something out, and he said, "You know what, Dom?" He said, "There's sharks, and then there's minnows. Which one are you?" And that's what I've learned is, it's survival. I think for entrepreneurs, it's more about survival than it is about anything. It's more about not being afraid more than anything. And for me, I grew up kind of rough. I grew up a tough life. I grew up with tough background. I had brothers that went to prison and family members that went to prison and things like that. So I saw a lot of rough stuff growing up. And so for me, people always say, man, how do you stay so poised in those situations? Or how do you put yourself in those rooms and not be afraid? And I said, well, the stuff that I seen whenever I was growing up, the things that I've been through when I was growing up, sitting across the table from a guy who's got on a suit and a tie, who went to Harvard and was discussing business. That guy doesn't, I don't get afraid by those conversations because he's either going to say yes or he's either going to say no. And I've been in situations where people are going to say, make a break here.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? You know what I mean? And so I think for me, it's just all about perseverance, man. Like I said, sharks are minnows. You got to sink or you got to swim. So, yeah, I think that, and I'm an athlete, so I grew up playing basketball and sports and things like that. And so, I think that's something else that helps me out too, is just, I had got some structure, things like that. And then I got a bunch of survival tactics from growing up in the country and then also growing up in the inner city. So you put all that together, man. I always say common sense and life skills are the most important things that you can have in life because, when all else fails, you know how to survive.
Oh, 100%. And I believe that when you go through challenging times growing up, when things aren't, the path isn't necessarily laid out before you. You have to discover things on your own. You have to, overcome challenges. You have to bear witness to things that you shouldn't have to growing up, but in a situation you have to go through them. I think all of those things, as challenging as they can be as you're going through them, they become this, almost like this armor that you get to put on when you start to develop yourself as whether it's an entrepreneur or you get into a career or athletics or even, music, is the things that would phase probably a normal person. You're kind of like, yeah, that happened on Tuesday when I was growing up. Like this,
right?
Nothing is legit the end of the world until it's the end of the world. I think that mindset really helps you get over things that are like, oh, well, this guy's either going to say yes or no. And if he says yes, great. If he says no, great.
Says no, go talk to somebody else. Yeah. Somebody else wants it. And then too, man, I ain't gonna lie, man, I'm a God-fearing man. And so, I've been to Haiti and I've seen people make, homes out of scrap metal. I've seen people, make a living out of making kites out of, straw and freaking Reynolds wrap. You know what I mean? And so for me, and or people, painting on canvases and with nothing, and so for me, man, it's just when you travel and you get out of your comfort zone and you see how other people do things and how other people live, it kind of gives you appreciation for what you have, but also gives you a little kick in the butt, like, hey, man, it ain't so bad over here after all.
Yeah, as bad as it gets, and there's a lot of this mentality currently plaguing some people in this country. I'm not going to name a specific group. I'm just going to say, generally speaking, some people like to play this. Man, things are really, really tough, and it's really hard, and victim, victim, victim. But as you put it, when you go to a place like Haiti, when you go to a place even, outside of really any destination place in a country like Mexico, you see like the places leading up to the resorts, and you go, tin, no roof, and I think to have that like mindset of like, oh, it's so bad, you go, it's not. It's really not that bad if you have a roof over your head, if you're able to, feed yourself and feed your family. Like, you're a step ahead of a lot of people on planet Earth.
It's true, man. It's true. They said the average person brings home $4 a month in Haiti. $4 a month, man. And so, matter of fact, I remember I was down there and one of my friends, she wanted to get her hair braided. And so, there was a lot of just traditional things that like in America, there's a lot of things that we do here. They're not accustomed to. And so one thing is like in America, when you get your hair braided, it can be $60 to $250. And so I'm down in Haiti and my friend's like, hey, I want to get my hair braided. And so I'm like, oh man, this would be a good opportunity to bless this young lady. Well, this young lady comes back with like 4 other ladies and then they all go to town on their hair at one time. And I'm like, dang, that's pretty cool. And so she gets done in like 10 minutes. You know, braids in America can take like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
So they were done in like 10, 15 minutes, man. And so I was so amazed. And then the lady that went and got all the other ladies, I gave her $60, you know, and she looked at me like, what did you do that for? We do this every day, send the kids to school.
Right. Every morning.
And so
before 6.
yeah, man, it made me feel at first I kind of was like, oh shoot, did I ruin her? You know,
right.
Did I ruin her by doing that? You know, because that's not what she's accustomed to. But then I was like, you know what? Forget about it. And then probably like 2 hours later, I saw her come back with an iPod and some headphones. And she was just smiling. And I was like, oh, okay, she's blessed.
You better be downloading some Kentucky Dom. That's all I'm saying. You better get some Dom on there. Let me see your playlist here. Let me just make sure that's on point. That's. Oh man! But imagine how long it would have taken her to get even, minus the fact that she probably has to pay for, I don't know, food and other things, but to be able to go and splurge on something, and the amount of joy that one thing that we're like, whatever, like we can stream, we just yell in the air and our robots start playing music for us. Like we're doing okay. But for her, that gesture that you made and that iPod that will make her smile forever. As long as she's got Dom on there, she'll be fine.
You know? Yeah, man. So, you know, it's just stuff like that I've experienced in life that, you know, it just makes me a stronger person, makes me want to be better, and makes me want to be an example for other people, man. And I think that's one of my biggest purposes in life is just to be free, not be afraid, and just kind of go for it. You know what I mean? I always tell people that I mentor, you know, they're looking for jobs, or, you know, they have a hard time being a hard worker and things like that. And I'm like, look, man, we live in America. You can literally shovel manure and make a good living in America. And so when I see people out here saying, you know what, I can't find a job, I can't, it's hard, you know, and I'm just like, man, that don't make any sense.
Right.
Because you can bring people over here from Haiti, you can bring people over here from Mexico, you can bring people over here from wherever, and they'll come over here and they'll take those jobs and they'll do them with pride because they know where they came from. We're spoiled in America sometimes, man, and that's the thing that bothers me the most. Is, you know, there's a bunch of political stuff going on right now, and you know, people can't find jobs and stuff like that. And man, there's plenty of jobs out here. You can drive down any street.
Yeah.
Free. Next week we might see a commercial with Doritos saying we're hiring.
Legit.
You know,
we're at that point.
That's the society we're living in. We're at that point where all these big companies, instead of doing promotional commercials, they're trying to hire people.
Yeah, it's really any place, any business, large, small. I mean, you drive down any street, you get on social media at all, you'll see places like Doritos, like Pepsi, like Budweiser saying, we need help. And there is a weird
right.
And I'm not sure that this is all social media based, but that people see this expectation of life, this picture of, well, I should be able to do very little but be able to have all the things. I should be able to have a beautiful home and a car for my weekdays and a Jeep for my weekends. I should be able to, you know, go on 4 vacations a year. What do you mean I have to work for it? Like, I don't understand. Like, I thought they were just handing these things out as you, like, you know, from birth to 18, like you just wait for them to hand things out. There's no accountability for, hey, if you would like all of these things, they are all 100% attainable. You have to put the work in, and people get stuck on that real quick. Like, well, I don't like that concept.
That's not to get started on. I'm gonna try not to get too political and too, you know, on you. But man, a lot of that, man, is what they're teaching the generation, you know, coming. You know, these young I guess it's Generation X or something like that. They don't want to work. And, they've been taught on social media, hey, sit in front of your computer and make videos and see how much money you can make, not realizing, just like the NBA, just like, professional sports, the percentage of people that actually make it on social media, making a big living, is still it's a small percentage. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's probably you could probably there's probably more people out there per capita than like the NBA or professional sports making money online, but still, man, it's a really tough business. And I feel like what they're teaching is these kids don't understand, like, hey, go get a job, work your butt off hard, save some money, and then and make that like a hobby that can possibly turn into a business,
right,
as opposed to just jumping right into it after high school. And then these kids, man, I'm telling you, they just really don't really want to work. And and I've experienced being in business. I've experienced exactly what you're talking about, where these kids will come in and they want you to pay them all this money, or they want your job. Hey, I want to do what you do. And it's like, man, you know how many years it took me to understand how to get to this point?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just going to give it to you. What kind of asset are you going to become to this company? And then we could talk about that type of money, but until then, keep going making TikToks.
wait for that check to come in. Let me know how many zeros are on the end of it.
And then 10 years later, and you know what? It's crazy how many of the people that I'll see 5-6 years later, and they're still doing the same thing, running around from job to job, trying to figure out, how to get some quick money, as opposed to just being consistent, working their way up in the company. And I remember I talked to a guy that worked for Dish Network, and he's one of their top like managers in their sales and department. And he wasn't he's a very introverted guy. And as a salesperson, you got to have a personality.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting here like, man, how did you get that job? and he said, honestly, man, I just outlasted everybody. He said everybody else quit and I just stayed.
There's something to be said about longevity and nose to the grindstone, and just I'll just outlast them. I don't even care. I'll just quietly sit here. They'll not even know I work here anymore. Be like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, he's the boss now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
yep. And then there comes a point where they're like, well, he's the only person qualified to do this job, so we got to hire him. You know what I mean? So, and he does a good job. Like, to me, like, I feel like he does a good job with what he does, from the conversations we had. So it's just like, sometimes walking into a job like that, it also challenges you to get out of your comfort zone and try something new. And I think that's what happened for him, is he was like, oh, I didn't even know I qualified to do something like that. But now that you give me the opportunity, I'll take it.
Yeah. That's another big thing too, is, you talk about that fear of trying new things, or maybe it's not even the fear of trying new things. It's the fear of like enjoying something. Like, I like to whatever, knit. Let's say it's knitting. It's not, but let's say it is. But you don't want to take the risk of putting yourself out there as a great knitter, somebody who can knit quilts and somebody who can do this. And maybe you have to learn a few things. People have a fear of like, I don't really want to learn new stuff. And then I have to put myself out there. What if other people think I suck at knitting? I'm like, I feel like the knitting community is probably pretty kind. Like, they feel like they're probably really nice ladies. Like, hey,
really patient people.
They are. You knit, like, you got like some Zen things going on, which I love. But people have a fear of trying new things, of expanding their knowledge base. And like your friend, like, not even realizing, like, just through the course of longevity and going through the motions and growing in a company, like, oh yeah, I am qualified for this job because I've been here long enough to have done all of the things. It's just a wacky world we're living in, Dom. I tell you, man.
It's a wacky world, man. But we got to live in it. Somebody's got to do it.
We are, man. Now I want to talk about music. I know I popped on. You were on Instagram Live a couple weeks ago, and you're just throwing down some beats, and I was like, "What's up? Let's get you on the show." What has been going on the last couple months with you musically, and getting some jams out?
Yeah, man. So about a month ago now, I dropped my latest single. It's called Guns and Hoses.
Love it.
and it's basically about so I kind of tell you how it came about. One of my good buddies, he's a chief of police, and there had been a time where he had asked us to make a song for their event called Guns and Hoses, and basically what it is police officers or first responders uh, and firemen go up against police officers and sheriff in a boxing match.
Oh, nice.
And yep, and so it's really popular. There's actually a lot of them in the country, and I didn't know it. I thought this was the only one, but basically it's a really cool event. I mean, they sell it out, and we had talked about it before, and it just didn't happen. And so we got together right before the pandemic and talked about it again, and then the pandemic came, so they didn't have the event.
Yeah.
And so a little while longer came through, and we talked about it again, and he was like, "Yeah, man, let me hear what you got." And so I ended up getting him a demo, and he ended up loving it. And man, it's a really cool song to me. And one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to make it was not because of the event and how much attention it brought, but more because I feel like right now we live in a time where so many people hate police officers and the thin red line and the thin blue line for no reason. I mean, there's reasons, but like at the end of the day, if something's happening at our house, I don't care who you are. If your house is on fire, you're calling a fireman, you're calling a paramedic. And if somebody's trying to break into your house or harm your family, you're calling a police officer. You know what I mean? And then you think growing up, when you play cops and robbers, everybody wanted to be the cop. Nobody wanted to be the robber.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And so somewhere along the lines, they start teaching us this twisted message that you can't trust any police officers. You can't trust any firemen. They'll spray you with a water hose. And it's like, no, that was in the 60s. They haven't done that in a long time.
Right.
Like things have moved and progressed forward. Are we still stuck in some areas? Yes. But for the most part, most of the police officers and most of the firemen that you talk to, most of the paramedics that you talk to, they're going to be good, decent people just like us. And they're just doing their job every day. And their jobs are hard. We don't understand their jobs, just like they wouldn't understand our jobs and the things that they have to go through. And so for me, I just wanted to make a song that kind of took some tension off of all the other stuff. And then being a black guy, I think there's a lot of things that they can't say that I can. And I'm a music artist, and being a music artist, I have a whole lot of freedom of speech. And so I figured, why not, make a song that glorified being a police officer in a really positive way and glorified being a fireman in a really positive way, and change the dynamic of the conversation that's been had for, the long time.
Well, it's awesome. I think it's a super important avenue to be able to utilize all of the things that you mentioned to be able to get this message out, because it is, you're right. If something bad happens, there's one number we're going to dial. It's not, there's, I'm not calling my neighbor to be like, hey, can you run your hose across here? My house is on fire. Like, so it's a weird pedestal kind of weird. People are sitting on a pedestal looking down saying, everybody's bad. This guy's bad. Like, pose them the question that you said. Who are you calling when bad things happen? Because it's not going to be the neighbors. It's not going to be anybody else. Like there needs to become like, I get it. There's bad people in all jobs across the country.
All jobs. Look, I always tell people these stories. I've been pulled over by a cop, and he acted a way that I probably thought wasn't professional. But I've also been in the inner city and got jumped by a bunch of kids because one of their girlfriends loved my accent because it was so country. And I got jumped by all those kids in that neighborhood. And so I always tell people, to me, that ain't no different than a bad police officer doing something to you as for no reason, or a group of kids that look just like you doing something to you for no reason. It's the same. There's going to be bad seeds in every single thing that it doesn't matter if it's business, it doesn't matter if it's school teachers, it doesn't matter if it's, the Uber guy, there's always going to be one bad apple in every situation. And so I just try to tell people, I've never been jumped in the country by any white kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's like, so to me, man, it's just, we got to focus on moving forward. If we keep focusing on, the past, you don't want to forget the past, but you also want to move forward and figure out how to be a bridge. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But if you stay stuck in that, it's going to be hard to have unifying conversations where we can all learn. You know what I mean? And that's just what we have to do. We got to learn how to have conversations without being mad at each other. But also, man, I'm also working on. I just started working on an album.
Awesome.
So I'm spending a lot of time here in Nashville, which is one of the reasons why my wife and I decided to get an apartment out here. Is I'm just here so much, and instead of spending money on, a bunch of hotels and food and travel and gas, we both drive, big vehicles. So it's,
Yeah.
$100 to fill up there, $100 to fill up here. So we just decided, man, let's just move to Nashville. Just get involved in the community.
Yeah.
Maybe even, launch some of our businesses down here, and you just never know what's going to happen, man. But one thing I love to do, man, is I love to meet people. I love meeting new people, and I love building relationships, just getting to know people. I think living in a big city like this, I think that it broadens your horizon. Sometimes when you live in a small town, you can just keep small town mentality,
Right.
or you can kind of get into that routine of small town business and things like that. And so I love being around, people, big entrepreneurial minds, people that are creative and always looking to do something new and crazy, because I think that it challenges me. And that's what I've learned for myself is like, I got to be around people that think like I do sometimes when
Right.
it comes to
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. Because in a small town, you talk to somebody about building a skyscraper and they're like, what? Why would we do that?
It'll block out the sun, man. It'll take out the whole sun. We won't be able to see the sun anymore.
Yeah, yeah, or just anything. You could talk about, just so many things that are, or taking an old building and turning into something refreshing for the community,
Yeah.
in a small town. And when you talk about things like that, people are like, well, what are we gonna put there? And I'm like, a restaurant. What kind of food do we not have here that they have everywhere else that we go to? Or a nice decent coffee shop or something where
Right.
kids have a place to go be inspired and things like that. So man, I love being in places like this because it gives me good ideas to be able to take back home and share it with some of the people in the community that have the ability to push those needles and make things happen. But man, I'm excited to be here, man. I'm working on this album. I think it's going to be really good. I'm working with some good producers and hoping to get into some good writing sessions. I really want to try to do some songs with maybe a couple of females. I think it'll be really cool to hear how some super country females would vibe on a country rap song. You don't really see too much of that, and so that's one of my goals, man, is to really try to figure out a way to blend, because you have country rap, or you call it hip hop,
Yeah.
and then you have like to me like there's hip hop and then there's like country rap, and I think there's a big difference that people don't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about country music, you think about like country, you think about like good old down to earth people and things like that. And when you think of hip hop, you think of like hardcore, rap,
Yeah.
dancing with some girls in the background and big muddy trucks and
Oh yeah.
things like that. And so for me, my music is country. I'm from the country.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to really relay that message is a lot of people, they put those two things together. So when they think like Kentucky Dom as a country rapper, they put me in the same, which, there's no, it's not bad to be in the same category as these guys, but they'll say, oh, like Jelly Roll, or,
Right.
oh, like, such and such. And even though these guys are making really, really great music, my music just sounds so different than theirs. And so that's why I really want to try to blend some like traditional country music, country singers with my country rap, and just see what kind of Kool-Aid we come up with.
Dude, I love it, man. I'm excited for this adventure to continue, and I want to leave you on this note. But I love the that small. There's levels of entrepreneurship. I think there's entrepreneurship in a small town where you're totally cool being an entrepreneur in a small town, and that's exactly the bubble that you stay in. And you're like, no, we're not going to build a skyscraper. We're gonna leave things alone. But you can still be an entrepreneur. You can still run the hardware store. You can still do things, and never escape the confines of that small town. Now, to be an entrepreneur on the level that you are, expanding it, taking to a place like Nashville, where it's obviously much more metropolitan, but you have so many more opportunities, so many more minds to kind of cherry pick the things that you like and get different ideas and even inspire more creativity from somebody who's already incredibly inspired. I mean that's like okay, there's entrepreneurship, and then there's like, how far can we raise the bar up? And that's what I love about you, Dom, is you're getting after it. Pandemic doesn't matter. Moving to Nashville doesn't matter. Going to Alaska, fighting off bears and moose. That story changed. I just changed that story. It was you. Like, I just opened that door and I kicked their ass. That's what I did. This is how stories change, man.
Yep, that quick.
Awesome, brother. Well, take care of yourself and keep me in the loop when new music's coming out. Congratulations on the latest drop, Guns and Hoses, which is available everywhere now. Keep doing it, man, and enjoy Nashville. I know that you will. I know that you'll enjoy Nashville.
Hey, cool, man. I appreciate you for having me, and I will. I'll enjoy it, and I will stay in touch with you, my brother.
We will be down there. We're making a pilgrimage down to Florida in January and spending 4 nights in Nashville right after the first of the year. So if you're still down there, I'm going to get a hold of you, and we're going to go do entrepreneurial things together.
Oh, I'll be here. I got a place here now, so I'll be here, and you'll hit me up, and we'll get together.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Take care of yourself. Kentucky Dom, everybody go find him on all the social medias, on his website, and go get the music on all platforms. Take care of yourself, my friend. Enjoy. We'll be in touch.
All right.
Here we go. Kentucky Dom on the show, man. That's what I love. I love that kind of energy, that kind of inspiration, that kind of just go get it. And he fought off a bear and moose. You see? You'll have to go back and watch the whole show if you just are joining us to get the original story. But Kentucky_Dom on Instagram. Also look for him on Facebook. KentuckyDom.com is the website, and all over on your streaming platforms. Guns and Hoses, the latest single from him, came out about a month ago. Thank you all for tuning in and chiming in the comments. Hope you all have a great rest of your night. We're back tomorrow on the show at 5 p.m. Central. Until then, links. Hit them all up. Follow us. Subscribe. Join our Patreon. Keep us in business. All the stuff. Y'all have a good night. Peace.